you will not be spared when the robot uprising comes. I've already made my sacrifices of blood to the great mother to the great motherboards.
All right, welcome guys to the Vibe Union podcast, episode 21. Woo! My name's Amutha, and to my left, because I made that mistake last time, we've got Rhath.
Hello.
And to his left, we have Jason.
Hello.
So before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I'd like to acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. So we'll get stuck right into this topic today. This is kind of something that I experienced recently. We went to a gig together, and we had a chat with a fellow artist about, the turnout. That wasn't as great as it had been previously. And this artist was kind of explaining how his mental health was directly correlating with how the event went and the intention that went into it and the work that went into it. And he noticed that he slipped up, posting on time and things like that. And that completely influenced, how many people engaged with the content, and then extended out to how many people actually attended the event. So this topic of mental health is important for all of us, not just in relation to music, but just our lives in general. I'm going to throw it to you guys. Was there any comments? Was there anything that you wanted to say with regards to what we were just talking about?
Nope.
Very broad. Yeah. I don't know. There was no real question in there. I just realized as I said it.
I can riff unless you got something off the top of your head.
Oh, I want to see you riff first.
I think if I was to channel Amutha with this conversation, you get out what you put in a lot of the time, and so if you're in a bad place mentally, then that is often reflected back at you from people and experiences that you have. So I definitely, but it's an interesting one. So if we were to talk about, I guess I'm speaking more on mood, but obviously that plays a big one. So like if you're in a more of a depressed state and then you go to try and perform on stage, for example, that's an entirely different experience than being completely hyped up for it.
Absolutely.
However, then it can also be a therapeutic experience. I know that, it can sometimes be the thing that gets me out of a funk is being up on stage.
Yeah, it's quite cathartic at points when you're just like, you feel the song that you've created and you know what went behind that song, and maybe you've touched on those emotions during your day and you're like, this is my moment to kind of get that out. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Is this industry, we're in the kind of, I guess you would say we're in the lower end of the industry. So we are, for the most part, having to be self-reliant on terms of setting our schedules, bringing that work ethic, bringing that, doing the back end kind of stuff. And without having a more of a traditional company behind you, without having a traditional an office and a team of people with set agendas and set schedules and like deadlines and all that kind of stuff, to be on your social media game every single day, I've tried, and I assume that we're probably all in the same kind of boat. That we see those people who vlog every single day, who are always on their game, who are sharing every little experience. And then those people often they have to put out a video like 2 years into their career going, guys, I'm burning out and I need to take a break. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. That makes total sense. Because I can only get through a week of doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Jason, I know your social media game has kind of picked up in like the last half a year. But what's your experiences at the moment in that sense?
I think the social media thing is... it's hard. Like you think, I'll just post something here. I could do it every day. But then it's just like, even at the simplest thing of just putting something little up, like I just put up little bits of poems and whatnot. And even that, you're just like, you have to get a filter. I can't be bothered. Like it's even little things like that. It just gets into the back of your head and you're like, I'll post tomorrow. And then you're like, I haven't posted anything. And then you see other people like, they've done this, they've done that, they're adding this, they've done this. And then it just sends you in a spiral like, put all this production into a post every day for last week. I can't even get one picture up. I think I'm trying to. I said I got me doing the Instagram thing now, and I was always against Instagram for years. And
It's just a tool. It's just
I
a
know.
tool.
So that's where I'm now getting my creativity out now. Other platforms is, Facebook and all that is just a cesspool of nonsense.
Political discourse, which I lovingly take part of.
I've been noticing that, yeah. I use the Facebook is just personal stuff now, but then Instagram of more using it for a creative outlet. But then I think also too, I kind of got over that posting every day. I'm like, well, this is my Instagram. I can do whatever I want with it.
Yeah.
That's if I want to not post for 3 weeks, I don't have to. But then I also don't want to oversaturate it.
One thing that came to mind was that with I think promoting a gig or promoting your own artwork on Instagram or what have you, you have to have some sort of ego. You have to believe that people will give a shit. People will want to see your work. People will want to come to your gig, or in the case of a gig, actually, that you're doing something bigger for other people.
Yeah,
but that's a hard state to stay in all of the time. To think and to wake up every morning and go, yeah, you know what? What the world needs today is my artwork out there for everyone to enjoy. Like probably 60% of the time, wake up and go, who the fuck would actually want to look at my dumb face? Who wants to read my dumb fucking comments? I might as well just fight with boomers on Facebook about politics and get it out of my system that way. But like to actually to stay in that level, I think people who are doing the vlogging and that kind of thing every day, I think it's more routine. I think it's more
routine, and there's more motivation to do it when you recognize that people want your content. Like nobody wants our content right now. People will skip past that like without even thinking about it. And I think that's maybe a bit of a demotivating factor for me personally. So what I'm doing now is I like doing stories, and sometimes they're super random, sometimes they're relevant for what I've been up to. But I think a story is something, it'll just last for 24 hours. It's a small snapshot of who you are, and people who actually want to know what you're posting will click on it and watch it. And that way you're kind of monitoring, okay, these people are interested in me. Maybe these are the people I target when I'm doing gigs. That's kind of my method now.
That's actually a great point, is using it to kind of weed out who's actually engaging and then change your direction towards those people.
Is that a hot tip that I just gave away for free?
I
think that deserves a like on the video at the very least. All right, that's a real hot tip.
I don't think any of us have the right to be trying to teach social media expertise, but
we can try.
We can
another avenue that we can go down.
I've watched so many tutorials on it and read so many articles about how to improve your social media game, and I think I've got good practice. You guys have seen what I do in terms of it is when it comes to release time, it is daily content, varied
you're
content,
on top of your
very
game.
Visually vibrant content.
Yes. But
there's this social aspect, the actual interacting with other human beings, where I just go fall flat on my fucking face. Yeah. I've got a few people here and there that I interact with, but that's another thing, to be in that mental headspace of I'm going to engage with every single comment. I'm going to be personally messaging people. I'm going to be sending them links. This is something that Mash does that I know it works, but I still can't get my head in that mindset. Like to send someone your work and then to chase them up the next week and be like, hey, you should come to my gig. Hey, just checking in again, see how you're going. Do you want to come to my gig again? I know it's coming up in a couple of days, so I don't know how to be that person.
Well, does it cause you like mental stress to try to do that, or is it just an inconvenience thing, like maybe feeling like a bit too lazy to do it?
Not so lazy, because I put in the hours into this social content. Yeah. But I just, I've done it where I'll type out the message and I can't send it. I can't send it to this person.
I feel you on that. It's like almost like, for me, it's like I'm not really worthy kind of thing. Yeah. It's like, if this person wants to see me, they will have seen my content and they'll click on it and, or they'll come and see me live. But I feel like I shouldn't be forcing myself onto this person right now. Whereas Mash is kind of like has the confidence to be like, I'm good. You know I'm good. I know we're good. Come down to my gig. Like it's just that ability to command people. And I feel like I personally lack that. I kind of am more passive when it comes to my promotion and marketing.
Yeah. Well, I had a message on Instagram from a page who had like 20,000 followers or something, and they were like, "Oh, do you want us to promote your page?"
Yeah,
because it was sometimes the hashtags mental health awareness or whatever I've posted, and they were like obviously saw the hashtags that they were using, and they were like, "Do you want us to promote your page?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love you to." Like I'm always skeptical about this stuff, unprompted. Unsolicited stuff, and I was like, I'd love you to promote. And they're like, oh, here's all our prices.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I had one before. It was like, oh, we'd love you to be an ambassador for like autism awareness and stuff. And I went into their page, and I was like, nearly going to dive further, and then realized that a lot of the comments everyone's like, oh, you're being really tone deaf with what you're selling and stuff. And I went, okay, not going to touch it. And so I was like, okay, I'm interested. And then they come back with, a story on a story is X amount of dollars, and they gave me a price list, and I'm like, listen, thanks for your interest, but I said I'm not looking for handouts. I'm not asking you to promote me for free, but if you don't feel that my stuff is worthy of sharing or promoting on its own validity, then I'm not wanting to pay for it, because it's just going to be people are on your page, and then they're going to get a random story from a random page, and they might like it, but I'd rather them see it come to it on their own accord. And so I was like, and then I just went through the message again. I was going to show someone, and they had actually deleted the message they sent me about the pricing.
Oh,
motherfucker!
But I had already had screenshotted it,
nice.
and it's on my phone.
Excellent.
So I was like, okay. I was like, that's not. Yeah, so I was like, well, I could get free promotions. Like, then I went over it and like, that's not how I want to do it.
No.
I mean, if people want to do it, that's fine. If people want to buy that stuff, I mean, it was pretty cheap. And part of me was like, $10, that's pretty good for a post and a story. And then I was like, I don't like when people do that themselves. And I'm like, I don't want to be that.
I'm torn because I'm getting a lot more at the moment, and I've noticed. I think for some reason there's just an uptick in comment bots with a particular style. Just hey, promote your page at.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Your responses to those are life giving.
I'm so glad.
So good.
I'm having so much fun. I'm translating my text into binary code, and I'm posting that. I'm translating it into Morse code, and it's all things like you will not be spared when the robot uprising comes. I've already made my sacrifices of blood to the great mother to the great motherboards. I'm writing these dumb little stories for myself, and I'm having so much fun doing it.
He's going to be like the leader of the AI. When AI becomes self-aware and decodes all of this stuff, they're going to be like, Rhath is our god, is our personal god now.
I don't think anyone's going to decode my bullshit, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it. But it's a weird one because so I've had a few interactions here and there where someone they might have used a comment bot to get my initial attention, but then I've responded with some bullshit, and then they've responded as an actual person.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, cool. So now I have a chance to go deeper with this and see what I can get out of them. But for the most part, yeah, it's like, it's clearly that it's going to be a situation like this. It's very clear that they're going to ask me for some money, which is fine in a sense. But then I've actually called them out and said, what the fuck is this? What is the point of all this? And they say, this is how it is. This is how the game works. This is just basic marketing. This is basic business. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of traditionally how it would be done. And I had the plan to do something similar when I released my album, but I unfortunately completely ran out of money. But I wanted to pay for an article with Happy Magazine, and that was like $300 or something like that for a banner article written about your album, stuff like that. And I was like, I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know what the return on that is, but at least it's an article written on the actual content itself.
There's something there, yeah.
But I'm with you. Like, shared on a random Instagram page. If I'm following with some random Instagram page, or profile rather, and they just post some random other artist that I have no idea about.
You're not going to engage.
I'm not going to engage in the slightest. The only time I'm going to engage is someone I follow, like getting a review from an Anthony Fantano or Anthony Fantano type. He's obviously the biggest dog you can aim for, but like to actually have someone who you know their taste, you know they're credible to give you that stuff, even if it's paid for, I would still be more inclined. I don't understand the concept of these random pages that are like basically just paid to share gallery. Who's following these people? What kind of response are you getting? Because the comments in the section, the comments on these profiles are vapid nonsense most of the time. It's comment bots commenting on comment bots. And it's this whole string. I was like, what is the value in any of this? I don't understand.
I mean, I've got a couple of things I've posted. I mean, not many people comment on my stuff, but then I've had a random. It was like, hey, I really like your stuff. Oh, it's really good. How about you check out my page? I'm like, and then follow me. I'm like, well, if you don't like my I'm not asking you to follow. And then someone's like, oh, hashtag follow for a follow. I'm like, if you don't like my stuff, if I have to follow you, for you to follow me, then I don't want that type of engagement. If you like my shit, then do whatever you want. Look at it all the time, engage with it. If you don't, go somewhere else. I'm not.
Yeah. I've had a few success. A few times. It depends on who the person. I think with that one, 100% not worth it. But a few times I've had people who are clearly just, they're not necessarily using comment bots or anything like that, and they're not doing the follow for the follow, but they're still in that mindset, and they're commenting in that way, they're messaging me in that way, and I just kind of give it back to them and be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, bro, fuck yeah, you want to follow me, blah, 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 blah. But then I start to interact with their stories, and like I keep trying to just like push them a little bit, like give me something, give me a little something more. And I've got a couple of, not friendships, not even acquaintances, but a couple of profiles that have a little bit of a back and forth, because you push them and be like, come on, just be a person for a second.
Yeah, that's quite nice actually. You turned that situation, because I remember a few episodes back now, I was trolling someone who attempted to do this with me. So like, I think a better response is like, try and humanize them a little bit, or try and get them to admit that they are human and they're not hustlers.
Yeah.
I think that will help you both have a genuine interaction if there is someone out there harassing you. Or you can ignore them. That's also an option.
Okay, so to circle back of the topic of
oh yes,
I was just thinking about that. No, well, I think it works. So talking about like, so when I got that thing about, oh, do you want us to promote you for money, and we're talking about the amount we post, do you think that if you did do that, would it be better or worse for you mentally, for your anxiety and stuff? If you're like, oh, I've just spent $10, I've outsourced this, and then then you're like, well, I'm going to get some maybe 10, 15 more people following or something, and nothing happens. Like, do you think sometimes it might be the risk might be worth the reward in that situation?
I think it would actually be detrimental. I think because we're talking such low numbers as well. Like, I don't think we can really capitalize on our followings until we're in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Right now, like we're all under 1,000, right?
Oh yeah.
We're all under we're all under 300.
I'm under 100.
Yeah.
I was like, when I was doing cartoons for 3 years, and I was really going at it, like posting twice a day a different cartoon, and basically Instagram hustling, doing the whole thing. And I managed to get up to 900 followers,
which is unreal, but
embarrassingly low for the amount of time and effort went into it, though. And
it's hard, man. Yeah. It's so hard.
It made me realize that like, this game does not work unless there's something else backing it. I think if you were to pay a bunch of fucking money and get all these followers, though, I think that would be a waste of time, because maybe if you did get tens of thousands, you'd be just another one of those accounts now.
Yeah.
You'd be your comment section would be full of just more comment bots, hitting up more comment bots, and just be a nightmare. That's why I am hoping now that my new plan is that like put all of that time and effort into Vibe Union and keep pushing every single post. Do that thing of like, follow me for a follow, bro, but in face to face, and be like, hey man, I like your shit, I'll check out your shit, I'll follow you first. You change the language, you change the way you're doing it, and now I'm getting so many more followers just from being active with Vibe Union and
Yeah.
meeting people in real life.
I think that's the key ingredient. Like more than just scrolling through social media and following people like that. I think people want to know that you're a human and they want to engage with you in the real world.
Yeah.
And that will actually be the thing that puts them across the line in terms of actually following you and wanting to be interested in what you're doing. So that's a hot tip. Another hot tip.
Man,
Drop a
you're full of
like. Drop a like
Number
for these
2.
hot ass tips. Number 2.
Hot ass.
I've got an insight actually into, so with that 3 years of doing the cartoons, I did not realize at the time, because it was a very numb style of depression. But looking back, once I got out of it, I was like, oh fuck, I was depressed for 3 years. I felt nothing for 3 years and I was just losing my mind. But at the time it just felt numb. I thought depression was like in the movies, and I was just sad and watching and like sitting on overpasses and it was raining and looking out across the harbor or some shit. It wasn't that at all. It's just me grinding, right, doing comedy online and being depressed. But I think because it didn't have that real world interaction, so it felt like I was just shouting into the void every single day doing this. And now, even though the gram is still kind of vapid nonsense, because I get some interactions, just 2 or 3 people from people I've met in real life commenting and interacting with me. Like, now I'm ready to go. Now I'm happy to do the daily Instagram grind a bit more.
So this is really interesting because this is the same but opposite problem of what I opened with, which was with this particular artist, he was just not doing the socials at all, and as a result fell behind. With you, you've put in all of the effort and didn't see the result that you were hoping for.
Yeah.
So now that begs the question, at its essence, what is really going on? Because if we can have 2 completely different problems on the opposite ends of the spectrum, but have the same emotional reaction, what's the real problem? Now we're getting insanely deep here. Is it more of a relationship to self and like not really relevant to the actions outside of oneself? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'm sure these profiles that we're talking about, these people that we're talking about, I think we see through them instantly. We're like, you're not a person anymore. You have stripped away everything that once would being called a human. You've become an Instagram bot yourself. Even though you are still flesh and blood, you are in that mode all of the time. And I think if you're like that and you go on the grind, I don't imagine you're going to see a return.
Yes.
But if we can learn to incorporate some of that into this other side of things, then they fuel one another.
Right.
Without the other, they both fall apart. Unfortunately, if we were to do what we're doing now, but without any social media, unfortunately, it is the day and age that it's very unlikely that this would work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe we could be one of the lucky ones, the one in a billion to be picked up by a label or some
algorithm.
shit.
Yeah, but then you don't
life algorithm.
You don't want to really be picked up by a label too, because then they'll screw you over. So what I'm hearing is it's a balance of the 2. You need the hustle, but you need to have the me time as well in order to actually find yourself in a healthy mental space to tackle social media. Because social media is its whole own thing. It's its whole old. I can't form a sentence right now. It's its own world. And so in order to actually be able to engage with it, you have to be able to essentially. And so then if we're pushing even further in this direction, what does that mean? What does that mean? How do you get yourself prepared to engage with social media? How do you guys personally do it?
I don't really. I just sort of. Well, that's why I think about not just the 3 of us, but our social media, Instagram and that all that stuff is the stuff that we create comes from a personal place. We're putting all of that into it. So if we start doing that annoying bot hustling sort of stuff, it sort of doesn't. what's the word?
It's inauthentic.
Yeah, it doesn't validate. It stops validating what we're doing.
Yeah.
So you can write, you can perform whatever, but if you're on the side going, yeah, I've paid for this and that, you kind of for me personally, there's less value in what I'm creating and what I'm doing. And so I think social. So sometimes you don't get the likes or the reaction you want from something you do, and that's kind of a heavy thing to take sometimes. But then it's sort of a weighing up like, well, I'm still doing what I want to do, and if no one else is engagement, well, still. It's a weird balance because you want people to be like, yeah, you're amazing, and everyone wants to be told. What's saying before, everyone wants to be told that they're good.
Yeah.
But then you see, even like content on YouTube and whatnot, people just pumping all this stuff out.
Yeah.
And then it's working, getting millions of views, but then parties like, all right, let's just sell my soul to the devil and then just do all this. But then it's like you lose all that enjoyment. For me anyway. Yeah. Now being able to perform, like I'm just starting performing to music now, and the first time I did it, I wasn't happy with it, and then I did it last week, and I did it well. Didn't forget
Crushed
anything,
it.
and I was like that kind of thing, and I was like, you know what? It was so much better. It was so much fun, and performing, and doing my own thing, my own words and everything, and it was sort of I don't know. It's a it's sometimes bittersweet and a hard thing to balance sometimes.
So obviously, you started in the poetry scene in Melbourne. Well, you didn't start here, but our interaction with you.
Yes.
Your start in Melbourne, was in the poetry scene, and which is a very personal and quick reaction to your work, right?
Yes.
So because you're giving something extremely personal, and then also people, usually the lights are up in poetry nights that I've encountered. So like when you're performing live at a music venue. Live bird's a bit different, but more often than not, you've got bright lights in your face and you can't see the audience as much. But at poetry nights, I always saw the audience because the lights were usually the house lights were up a lot more. But also, the communities felt more instant, real reactions. They would actually come up and talk to you about your poems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but you said that you didn't do social media back in the day.
No, I said I've only started doing it a year and a half ago.
Did you did you change your mind about social media during the pandemic?
No, it was the end of 2019, I think.
Okay, so you were still interacting with other poets. You were still going out and
I was still just doing that, and then I just got it, and I'm like, because I could post stuff on Facebook, but then I've had that for many years, and so I didn't want to. I'm like, okay, well, it's people like friends, family, and all that stuff, and it's a personal Facebook. I'm like, well, I can have an Instagram and just post what I want, and start a platform fresh, and just have and like I don't follow a lot of people. It's just because I don't want my thing to be. I just want to go on, check it, and then I don't want it clogged up with all this stuff. That's I wanted to share stuff and then get off. That's what I want to do. I wasn't doing anything social media wise, and I'm like, and then pandemic happened, so it just was a happy coincidence. Really.
So you're using it more as just a folio of work.
Just post snippets and stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm writing something. I'm like, oh, I like this bit more than the rest, so I'm just going to post it, and just if other people like it, then they do the. Sort of it's sort of just another way of expression, really. It's an easier bit of expression that doesn't take really any personal effort. You can sit at a computer or your phone. Well, even when I started, I googled how to post videos on Instagram on your laptop. I didn't know I didn't know you couldn't do that. I'm like, why can't I use? And so then I was like, I have to use my phone more. So I didn't know any about that, and so. Yeah, it's just it's a personal thing, but it's a very easy personal thing to do, and it's just a little bit of a release.
Do you find you're enjoying the interactions with people on there, which I assume would be primarily just VU members? Do you find the interactions with actually more? Yeah, do you enjoy the Instagram experience a lot more now that you're interacting with more artists in the real world, or is it kind of still an indifferent kind of just purely folio for you at the moment?
That's a good question, actually. I think so. Yeah, like it's now I get to interact with people and do gigs and stuff. It's a nicer thing to be able to just post stuff and knowing that I'll probably be saying what I've just posted somewhere down the line. Not always, but it's sort of I think it's more enjoyable now because there's even more of a purpose. It's like, I can put it here and then I can put it out in person. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna level with you guys. I am so freaking tired right now. And I'm zoning in and out. I'm trying my best to focus, but my God, I am exhausted.
This might be a shorter episode. That's all right.
Well, it's a heavy topic.
It's also a very heavy topic, and I'm very interested in the way that. Well, I'd like to know how you use social media in that same context. I'll throw that question to you as well.
I think a bit of a combination of the two. It has changed, but primarily at the moment, and I'm thinking about this in terms of my album as well, is that I originally was thinking when I was doing cartoons, and even when I switched back to music, this is my way to get my music out there and try and grow a fan base. And I have since scrapped that idea because I'm not dedicated enough to the social aspect of the social media, as I said before. So to build a big fan base, I think you need to be on it all the time, both just for the algorithm, but also to actually garner actual real interactions with people by commenting on their stuff regularly, messaging them. I'm getting better at responding to stories and things like that, and that's gotten me a few stragglers who interact with my stuff every now and then. But the social side of things I'm not super good at, so I've kind of scrapped the idea of trying to build a fan base. What I'm more trying to use it for is knowing that someone like you, people like you guys, people like Toomey was someone that I saw as a bit of a stepping stone. I was like, okay, this guy has a name and is working in the industry in a way that I really respect. And so I just want to make sure that this guy sees that I'm doing something, basically, And now, what's the next step? Is he's part of the royalty noise crew. So I want the royalty noise guys to see that I'm doing a thing. Venues to see that I'm doing a thing. Just is for the people that I want to work with next. So that they see that okay, cool, this guy's got an album out, this guy's got this visual art as well that goes with it. So it's kind of a folio, but it's also a way to push my folio now towards the people that I really want to work with next.
Kind of like networking on the internet, huh?
I mean, that's the most. I feel like all of the. I think all that we're talking about is this is 101. This is the most basic level of social media that we're just oh, that's how it works. And everyone who's watching this is no shit, you fucking idiots. This is how it works.
Because, I would say that I use it quite differently to both of you guys.
Okay, cool.
I guess originally the intention was, okay, I got to put myself out there, for this medium to be covered so I can get recognized just on a platform. But now that's slowly turned into how cooked can I make my profile? How silly can I be? How stupid can I be? How much fun can I have with it? And that's now what it's boiled down to is I don't care about the return anymore. The social media is there. If people follow me, they follow me. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
But for people who are there, I want to entertain them. I want to throw things up that are going to make them laugh, going to make them have a good time. I want them to engage with my content, but I'm giving them no true value. I'm just maybe giving them a bit of a laugh or just
I think though you're giving them the more value than either of us or potentially okay, so we interact with people who we have already met. We are interacting with VU members primarily and a few other Melbourne artists through our socials. But you have managed to score a number of collaborations around the world.
That's true.
Through your Instagram. And I wonder if that's purely because you don't give a fuck anymore.
I think that, and that's the thing, most of the people who have reached out to me have reached out because of that personality. Like they've obviously heard my music and vibed with it enough. And then to take it a step further and actually, you know, suss out my stories or the random stuff that I put up, like the way I caption things. I don't know if you've ever read any of my captions. I've never seriously hashtagged in my life. All of my hashtags are complete gags. And I just cannot, for the life of me, do a serious hashtag post. Like I want to because I know it will definitely help. But I just, like in the moment I'm deciding to do it, I'm like, no, but like, a hashtag like "'tis the season to be jolly" would be so much funnier than like anything relevant right now. So like I don't know. Maybe that was a selling point when people were reaching out to me and they were like, "Oh, she's got a bit of a personality." Or maybe it wasn't. God knows how these algorithms work. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, okay, so. Over the course of the last few podcasts, I think I've kept hitting on the point that like I've even talked about it in this one, is that like, yes, I could put a bunch of money into my solo profile and try and push my solo art as much as I can, and you know, and do what you know you're supposed to do, or I could try and build a foundation, some groundwork at the moment with Vibe Union, so that way. It's a little bit selfish in a sense, but every time, you know, you get a follower who's interacting with your stuff all the time, there's a good chance that they'll see you interacting with me because we're interacting with each other all the time, and they go, oh, cool, I'll check this guy as well. So I'm casting a much wider net by having a lot of artists surrounding me and working with these people, and also that way, you've got a gig on, I'm probably on that same bill. Yeah. Someone will see me because they came to see you, and and vice versa as well. It's a two-way street, obviously. This is not me just like, I'm going to take all of your talent and milk it for all it's worth. But something that, so there's a lot, I follow plenty of rappers on Instagram, but there's very few that I actually feel like I could message. I know I can. I respond to their stories with fire emoji, but I never actually message them and be like, oh, hey, bro, that's fucking a sick beat. Who's making that? Where are you getting it? What's going on in your brain, you know? But I feel like your stories are extremely approachable. I don't think anyone feels any walls between themselves and you.
That's what I want. And I think... I mean, that's what I just want in my regular life. And I'm like, how do I extend that out to my social media? Like you said something before, which was like absolutely nailed it. I want it to kind of be an extension of who I am. And for me personally, it doesn't feel right to sell myself and to try and market myself. And I don't know, I can't see myself doing it. And I know it works. I know that for some people, that's exactly the way they need to approach it. And that's totally cool. But for me personally, it's like, this is an extension of who I am. I want to just have a little bit of banter. And maybe that's why these kinds of collaborative opportunities have come up. Like I haven't been approached by some big brand or like, you know, accounts with 20K asking me if I need any kind of marketing. But, you know, I've been approached with people who have just heard my stuff and been like, you seem cool enough, let's do something. So I think... yeah, I don't know. 3 different ways of using social media, and you know, you just pick your preference, I guess. There's no real right way of using it. That's the complete truth.
I think yours is great, though. I think that's a really interesting. It's a good way to approach it. Thinking on this idea, similar to what I'm talking about, like casting a wider net with these other artists, because every time you have a real interaction with one of these people, that's someone who will actually comment on your posts,
absolutely,
who will actually share your posts, who will actually like respond to all of your stories. And even if we're speaking just algorithm, that's way better than a bunch of random followers that will not interact with your profile.
And just to bring it full circle back to our main, intention, mental health focus, I feel like for me personally, this way of using social media is so like soothing to the soul. It's just so easy and fun. I'm not stressed about it. There's no pressure. I have to post at these particular times. And I don't feel like I'm compromising myself. I think that's a big one. When you feel like there's some kind of compromise that you're making that already causes a bit of friction within yourself, and, you know, having to post at specific times, specific deadlines just becomes more of a drag rather than something fun that you look forward to doing. Oh, someone has arrived.
That's cool. Keep going.
Okay. I mean, that was all I really wanted to say. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you guys don't mind wrapping it up, I'm tired and I'm hungry.
That's cool.
I could eat, yeah.
Sorry, this is real life, okay? We're not magic in any way. We're literally the same people as you. We're just sitting on the other side of the screen. So we get hungry, we eat. That's what's up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Were there any parting words that you guys had?
I'm good.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Excellent.
I never do.
High energy.
High energy. There we go.
I'm hungry too. I want to go.
Remember to eat. Remember to drink. Remember to sleep. And most importantly, remember that your mental health is your priority. Make sure that you're always taking care of that mind, because that mind is going to influence the world around you. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Boom.